All right, hello. Welcome to paper session number 2B. This session is going to start with the Night Sky Network as a Resource by Sherry Adams.
So I know that many of you are familiar with the Night Sky Network already, but for those of you that aren't, it's a great resource of materials that can supplement programs that you do in the planetarium, as well as outreach programs that you may be doing away from the planetarium. So first of all, professional astronomers make these really cool discoveries, but they're minuscule in their numbers. And there are so many more amateur astronomers that are out there that have direct contact with people. And so it's going to be kind of the duty of the professional astronomers to be able to share the information with amateur astronomers so that they can get that information to the general public because they reach so many more people. So what they're going to do is they need some assistance. So the amateur astronomers, they need to be schooled on what the information is that needs to be shared. They need access to materials that would be able to share this information. They need training on that kind of information. They need to be able to network among themselves. So there's a need for this kind of connection between professional astronomers and the amateur astronomers that can reach so many of the public. So one of NASA's education goals is to improve the public's understanding of astronomy, and therefore they decided that a coalition of all these amateur astronomers would be able to translate information from the professional astronomy discoveries to the general public. So it really fit in exactly with what NASA wants to do. So what they did was they developed and operated a system that's called Night Sky Network, and it's by the Astronomical Society of the Pacific, and it's sponsored by NASA's JPL Exoplanet Exploration Public Engagement Program that's known as Planet Quest. And so so they decided to come up with all kinds of different information being supported by these different organizations, most of which are directly NASA. Of course, the Astronomical Society of the Pacific is listed there. But they came up with this format, and they said, let's go ahead and let's build these toolkits. And the toolkits would contain materials that could be demonstrated, different kinds of concepts. Included in the toolkits would be CDs, DVDs, all kinds of demonstrations about how to utilize these materials. There would be training on those DVDs. There would be access to resources online, and then there's also webinars and teleconferences that are held on a regular basis with NASA scientists to convey this information. And there's opportunities for the amateur astronomers to ask questions of the scientists so that they can better understand what it is that they're supposed to do. So they started with just a couple of toolkits, and they move forward with all of these that are now available through the Night Sky Network to amateur astronomy clubs throughout the country. So I know the print is kind of small, so I'm just going to read to you what they are. Black hole survival, exploring the solar system, glass and mirrors, life in the universe, our galaxy, our universe, our magnetic sun, planet quest, shadows and silhouettes, space rock, supernova, and telescopes' eyes on the universe. And there's all kinds of really simple things. Most of these kits come in a cardboard box that's no more than maybe 2.5 feet in length, maybe 18 inches deep, and maybe 4 or 5 inches. And so there's, compact all this information. There's also all kinds of PowerPoints that are available that are accessible as the online materials. And so I brought a couple of materials that I'd just like to share with you because of the upcoming eclipse in August. There's the toolkit that has the shadows and silhouettes has a lot of really great usage. So I thought this was a wonderful demonstration to folks that it demonstrates both scale of distance and size. So if you could shrink the Earth down to the size of a 1-inch diameter object, and this would be the relative size of the moon, and they would be appropriately placed 30 inches apart because the moon is about 30 times further away from the Earth. And so it gives a good scale reference. And then what you can do is then you can have a light source, and if you wanted to put it appropriately to show the relative size of the sun, you could create an eclipse so that you could eclipse out the size of the sun and show how that operates. So I thought that was a really simple way, and having it being a folding meter stick as opposed to a straight one, it makes it a little bit easier. This is cool and would be easy to work on. It just has, it's lost its, sorry. I'm going to put my microphone down and just yell at you. Okay, so this is just a CD disc here. There's just a little blob of wax to adhere the little pin that the moon is mounted on. And then it's Velcro, which I've used this so many times it's lost its stick. But it shows the inclination of the moon's orbit relative to the Earth's orbit around the sun. So I use this often in the planetarium prior to doing demonstrations on the dome, and also use them outside of the dome to show this is, of course, why we don't always experience solar eclipses every new moon and lunar eclipses every full moon. And so the inclination makes it much easier for people to kind of comprehend that. I teach an astronomy class to a lifelong learning program that runs through the University of Dayton in the area where I live every fall. And this year, one of the portions of the astronomy program is about eclipses to get them ready for the eclipse next summer. And it's a myriad of people that come with different amounts of knowledge. And so I realized in discussing with these people ahead of time that there are many of them that don't comprehend why phases of the moon occur. So I spent a lot of time explaining about and demonstrating lunar phases so that I could then move into why we have the eclipses. And so one of the techniques that the Night Sky Network utilizes to show the phases of the moon is to take just a popsicle stick, put a sphere on it, just a styrofoam sphere on the top, and then your light source, I usually use the center, we have lighting in the center of our planetarium, and I use that as the sun source, and then everybody in the room can stand up and have a popsicle stick with their styrofoam ball, and then move so that they can watch the phasing of the moon. So it's all kinds of easy things that they just demonstrate how to do very simple concepts to bring them alive. And I find that when I demonstrate these things both with tools like this and then show them the same concepts up on the dome, it just seems to make a lot more sense. This particular demonstration is from the Space Rocks toolkit, and it's about meteorites. And so it has a little book that cues you as to what kind of questions you should ask. It has a magnet in here so that people, as they come and do this demonstration, they can use that as a determining factor as to whether or not you have iron in your substance. There's a little magnifying glass, and so they give you many specimens. They're identified for you, so you know what you're working with, and then they cue you as to how to explain how to distinguish between a rock being a terrestrial rock versus a meteorite, because I'm sure many of you have had many calls over the years about, is my rock a meteorite? And it's usually because it's a big one. And everybody, not everybody, but many people think that we have a heavy rock being a meteorite. So anyway, it cues you as to what questions you should ask and what kinds of information you could to share with people. So it's a small kit, but it has lots of information in there. It just makes a lot more sense to folks as they're trying to kind of comprehend this information. So if The Night Sky Network is open to amateur astronomy clubs across the country, and so it's free. So all they do is they ask for you to commit to a certain number of community events, outreach programs per year, which I think is 4 or 5. And if you do a minimum of 2 in a quarter, then you qualify for a kit. And so you can work your way up to acquiring all the kits that I mentioned previously. So there's a whole series of frequently asked questions that they have, so you're expected to go through those frequently asked questions and go through that. They want you to take a look at the sample application and then just apply online. It's very, very simple. It's very easy to do. The website is nightsky.jpl.nasa.gov, so it's really easy to go there to get the information. And we have a very active amateur astronomy club in the Dayton area. They actually meet at the museum. They have existed in some form or other. Next year, they will be celebrating their centennial. So these folks, not actual members, but the club itself has been around for 100 years, and they've had a close association with the museum for the last 60 plus years. And so they meet at the museum. They do support. We have a 50 centimeter Dahl Kirkham telescope that we open every clear Friday night. They help us with running that. They help make a presence on Astronomy Day. They come in, they do demonstrations, many of which are the Night Sky Network demonstrations, as well as some that they have of their own. And so it's a great compliment to them to be able to have extra resources of material, because I'm not sure about amateur astronomy clubs that you may be familiar with in your communities, but ours is a vast array of people having both lots of knowledge and some that have very little knowledge. So it helps them to have both. So anyway, if you have any questions, please ask. I'll be glad to try and answer them for you. But this is my contact information, cadams@boonshoffmuseum.org. Thanks. Anybody have any questions? Yes.
It's not so much a question, I just wanted to point out, too, that another great thing that Night Sky Network does is if you're having trouble keeping up with your membership roles in your astronomy club, or collecting dues and things, or managing an email list, they've got the tools for that, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really encompassing.
When you sign up for it, you get a kit.
Well, you sign up and you apply for membership into the network. And then once you have been able to show that you're committed to doing this, relaying information in outreach programs, then you can start qualifying for kits. And they require a minimum of a couple outreach programs per quarter to be able to receive the kits. And you have to be an amateur astronomy club. Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm sorry to cut you off,
Okay.
but that is all the time we have. Thank you very much. All right, if you could find your seats, please. I think we are ready to resume the presentations. This is the STEMinista project, encouraging middle school girls to continue studying science, by Paulette Ochtung.
Nope, we're not on. There we go. All right, good morning, everyone. Oh, that was much better than I thought it was going to be. Everyone's had their coffee. Excellent. So I am Paulette Ochtung. I am the Planetarium and Live Theaters Manager at the Michigan Science Center. I run much of the education program now at the Science Center as well. We have started something called the STEMinista project at the Michigan Science Center. We're really targeting middle school girls in the STEMinista project. And we're doing that because women comprise less than 25% of the STEM workforce. Now, this room right now is not representative of even the GLPA region when it comes to women and men. We have about 50-50. Awesome. Good job, girls. Woohoo! At least in this room, not in the whole GLPA region. Women comprise less than 25% of the workforce. 50% of women in STEM fields drop out after the first 10 years, mostly because they want to pursue families, stuff like that. Over the past 5 years, high school boys' interest in STEM is increasing, girls' interest is decreasing. The gender gap is there. It's apparent in middle school. Even though girls are outperforming boys in math and science, they're really not interested in it anymore. And so we're trying to catch them when they're in middle school before that interest starts to drop off. Now, our mission is to, like I said, get middle school girls to engage in STEM careers in the future. We're targeting 4th through 8th grade girls. And how are we doing this? We're doing programs. We have something called STEMinista Saturdays at the Michigan Science Center. It's the second Saturday of the month. We bring in partners to do coding workshops or app workshops or something, or stuff like that. We tend to go with the computer programming aspect of the STEM fields, mostly because it's really attractive to middle school girls especially. Although we did one that was geometry and art a couple of weeks ago. And so these are on Saturdays. They are open to everyone. We are not excluding boys. We are targeting girls in our STEMinista program. The only time that boys are not allowed to attend any of our workshops is when we do overnights, because mixed gender can't stay overnight in the Science Center together. We are also really pushing role models and exposing that there are women in STEM fields. So the role models that we have are, we have a giant database of role models, and we're looking to actually make that a database a little bit larger. So if we have any women in here that are interested in joining our database, just to show your face and show that you're a woman in STEM, please do. I have cards for anyone who wants them. I have them throughout the conference. Come and see me. We have meetup events with the role models, and like I said, we have this giant database that girls can go to and see that there are women in STEM. We are also working with Wayne State University, which is across the street from us, basically, to do all of our data analysis for this. Are we actually impacting these girls the right way? Now, this is a 3-year pilot program. We will be reaching our first year, the end of our first year in March. So we started at March of 2016. Our goals are to connect with 1,500 girls and 250 girls with direct programming engagement. This is just for our first year. And so those are the STEMinista Saturdays, the hackathons that we do, the overnights. Our target was 150 STEM role models in our database. And we're hoping that the girls that are influence or go to these workshops, go to other programming that we have, are going to continue on with their studies in STEM. So maybe they started and their favorite subject was music, and maybe they're looking a little more at mathematics or science. So we have a lot of community partners on this. So getting girls interested in STEM fields is sort of a national initiative, and so it's really easy for us to get people on board, especially in the Detroit area, where we have so much manufacturing. So here's our advisory group that we have. It's a bunch of women from the community. Some of them are from GM, some of them are from Ford, and they are working really hard to figure out, what type of programming we should do. We do STEMinista mentor outreach. So we have actually been funded to go to all of the DPS schools, all of them. And we're going into the 4th grade classrooms and talking to the girls about why we are interested in, or the mentors are going in and talking about why we're interested in STEM, what got us interested, and how we got to our fields, and talk about our jobs, stuff like that. This is actually a picture of me in one of the 4th grade classrooms. We talk to the whole classroom, not just the girls. So again, we're inclusive of boys, but we're targeting the girls. We have the coding workshops. This is Digerati Girls. They've been an awesome partner for us, and they actually ran our hackathon last week, and we have another one with them next week. So slept under my desk for that overnight, and I'll probably do it for the next one too. So here's our STEMinista role models, our database that we've got. The women give us pictures. They answer questions about what's their favorite dessert, stuff like that, just so that girls kind of have something that they can relate to. We've got a lot of them. And these are not just people in the Detroit area. These are actually worldwide. And so, like I said, if anyone in the GLPA region is interested in signing up to be a role model, please do. So, program progress. We have about 700 students that are participating in one of our programs. This is going to go way up because we are going to all the 4th grade classrooms in DPS by the end of the year. Like I said, going to go way up. We have 149 students that participate in our STEMnista Saturdays, our summer camp that we did, the overnights, and we have a 30% rate where people come back. So 30% of the girls come back for another workshop. They're super excited, and there's one girl. I saw her at her first one, and she was kind of dragging. She didn't want to be there. Her dad thought it would be really cool for her to go, and when she left, she was super, super excited. I saw her at 2 more STEMinista Saturdays, and she loves it. She absolutely loves it. She really loves the computer programming. So the evaluation is incomplete on whether or not their interest is increasing. Like I said, we're working with Wayne State for that. Getting involved. So again, we've got the role model database. We need people to get involved. Those classroom visits that we have. If anyone's in the Detroit area, we are trying to get more role models to come with us into the classrooms, not just rely on our staff. We do the STEMinista work Saturdays. We do the speaking. We have speaking engagements. For any of you that don't know, I did TEDx Detroit a couple of weeks ago, and I talked about STEMinista and just getting the next generation inspired about STEM in general. But if we show girls that there are people out there that look like them, then they're more likely to actually pursue careers in STEM. And of course, we want to spread the word. And if any of you want to learn more about it, www.my-sci.org/STEMinista-project. Like I said, I've got cards for anyone that is interested. All right, so we've got some questions, Renee. This is a grant-funded program. It was actually originally funded a lot by Ford. The Community Foundation has funded us a lot. We got funded to go to all of the DPS schools. Detroit is a very underserved area. If a lot of you don't know, the Detroit public schools are in really rough shape. And it's great to be able to go into the classrooms and to interact with all the students, honestly. So when we go in, we also do an inquiry-based learning activity with the kids. And it's been awesome when we get to do those activities and we get to talk to them, answer questions. And the number one question that I get about being an astronomer, have I been to space? And I answer it with, I wish. Soon we'll be able to just go to space, yeah. So we do have a cost, but it is highly supplemented for, so the workshops are $10 for the girls, but if they can't afford it, we do have scholarships and stuff like that. Our camps were highly supplemented as well. Our normal summer camps are like $250, the STEMinista one was $100, and and again, we had scholarships for anyone that couldn't afford it. I'm gonna take.
Did you have any difficulty getting the public schools on board?
Did we have difficulty getting the public schools on board? So yes and no. The administration at the public schools, it's actually been pretty easy to get them on board, but to actually get into all the classrooms and to interrupt their school day and all of that, that's been really tough. The teachers have been really, really awesome with that. But we are interrupting their science class, so it's something that they're trying to hit all their standards and everything, which is why we tried to do something inquiry-based that's following the, because we just adopted something similar to NGSS, not official NGSS in Michigan, and so we're trying to do something that's similar to what they would be learning in class anyhow. Yeah.
So, describe the hackathon. Is it writing code? Are they learning code? Application use?
Describing the hackathon. So they are the last one. They developed an app. So the girls kind of had things that they had to touch on while they were doing their app. But it was really just them coming up with an app to solve a problem. And they were using, I forget what it's called, because we actually have one of our partners come in and do the hackathon with them. And that's. We have these great partners in the community, so it's a little bit less work on our staff's part. the app building. It was really cute when they were going through and they were presenting their apps at the end of it, because they're like, this is the problem that I'm trying to solve. This is how you go through the app. This is what the solution at the end. And the girls really, really loved it. And it's actually a little bit of a competition as well. So they get a prize at the end if they. I don't, but I can get one to you. You've got a card for later. Yeah. Yeah.
Two questions. One, I'm an administrator at a small parochial school in Illinois. So, do you have any parochial schools in your group? And do they, can they get funding?
So there are some parochial schools, but not private schools in the Detroit Public Schools themselves. The reason that we can get funding for the Detroit Public Schools is because they're so underserved. And we are looking to expand the program into some of the other schools in the area, into the schools, say, in the Detroit metro area, maybe Dearborn or something like that. But we don't have the staff to do it right now. So we're looking to expand the program, but right now we don't quite have it. Yeah.
Middle school science teachers and women that I'd like to get enrolled in that. I have this on.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right, thank you very much. I'm sorry, but we are out of time. Hello, we are ready to resume our paper session. This is Getting a Feel for Eclipses by David Hurd and Ken Quinn.
Yes, this is my token blind guy.
And this is my token sightly David Hurd. I worked him so hard on Monday that I broke her Tuesday night.
Ken has a built-in pair of eclipse shades that he'd like to share with you later also. So you can tell we have a lot of fun together. We joke a lot. We've worked together on projects for, I bet, about 10, 12 years. We've worked on projects together for about 10 or 12 years. And we get along just well. I hope you have the time to meet Ken and talk to him about the projects. But we got a neat, exciting project that we have to share with you. Of course, everybody knows about the upcoming eclipse. We're going to pass all that stuff because you already know about it. But we did do a resource about that we'd like to share with you today. I'm going to hand that over to you, Ken.
I actually don't need that. Like David said, we've worked together for, I don't know, 13, 14 years now. Starting as a student where he overworked me, underpaid me. And then we've done lots of projects together. We started out back in the day doing tactile books and putting Braille on them. And that was great. However, it was pretty cumbersome and it was pretty costly. So then as technology kind of evolved, we went to audio CDs where we were able to put Audible recorded on there as well as Word documents and accessible PDFs. And I say accessible PDFs because they are different than your normal PDF. PDF is just a picture of the text which somebody with a visual impairment can't access. So there's stuff in Adobe to make them accessible so you can actually access them with a visual impairment.
So some of you have seen the lunar eclipse book that he's referring to. So we added both Braille text and there was a CD with an audio file in there. And so some of our books come with the audio files, some of them come with Braille, but that was very cumbersome and very costly to us. So we're getting smarter as we go along.
More like he's getting smarter.
Yeah. And well, when you're starting from the ground, it doesn't take much. Okay. So anyway, Ken, so when we came out with this book here, Getting a Feel for Eclipses, which is, here, I'll take that, which is funded by NASA Solar System Exploration Research Virtual Institute, or SERVI, which many of you have heard of, NASA headquarters, Science Mission Directorate, and a NASA grant through College of Charleston and Edinburgh University of Pennsylvania funded this project called Getting a Feel for Eclipses, because we thought, what a great opportunity to bring this wonderful event to this population of people that are blind and visually impaired. And so, Ken, go ahead with the cover.
Besides blind and visually impaired, this book can actually be used with normal sighted children in the classroom, and it works out really well. To do this book, we went to new technology called a QR code. And David said, well, we're going to do a QR code. How are you going to find it? I said, well, I'll just open my eyes. But then we figured that would work for everyone. So what we did is in the lower left-hand corner of this book, we put a raised box around the QR code. So somebody who is blind or visually impaired could find it easily with their QR reader.
Can you read what's on the cover
so
for us there, Ken? Prove that you can read this.
Dr. David Hurd still owes me tons of money.
Okay, all right.
It says NASA getting a feel for eclipses, and then scan for text underneath the box.
And then there's a raised braille
And then
box.
there's a raised
that
braille
highlights
box
the QR
around it that highlights the QR code. And that's where we actually put the text.
So you can just scan it with your cell phone or any
You can
device?
scan it with any QR reader, free ones that you paid for. QR reader that I will be using today to read some of the text so you guys can hear it is on an iOS one.
Solar eclipse will travel directly across the continental U.S. from Oregon to Charleston, SC. We have created a tactile guide to eclipses. Tactile graphics will provide an illustration of the interaction and alignment of the sun with the moon. Associated activities will help to explain the double search field.
Oops, did I mess that up? Here, I'll hold it.
Point at start. Quick nav off.
We didn't rehearse anything.
Rehearse? What's that?
Closing item chooser. Separator. Solar eclipse for thousands of. What is a solar eclipse? Heading level 2. A solar eclipse occurs when the sunlight reaching the Earth is blocked by the moon. It is important to understand some basics of the orbits of the Earth and moon. The Earth orbits, or revolves, about the sun. It takes about 365 days for the Earth to revolve once around the sun. The moon orbits, or revolves, around the Earth and takes about 29½ days to revolve once around the Earth with respect to the sun. Totality.
Okay. Ken, I'm just wondering, so when you access that with your QR code, are you able to adjust the speed and everything like that?
Yeah, I can adjust the speed and everything through the iOS part through VoiceOver. So anybody with an iOS device can get it over with VoiceOver. There is also an accessible version for Windows phones that would read it as well. And also, depending on the QR reader that you have, you are able to go into the share options under your menu in the QR reader itself and look up a printer that you might be able to air print to. And then you could print that off, and if you needed to scan it to turn it into Braille. However, most iPhones, iOS, Windows phones these days are actually able to use what's called refreshable Braille displays. So you could have it read and also see it in Braille at the same time.
So it has inside our 3 tactiles. How much time? I guess I've lost track. Ooh, 2 minutes. Okay. Inside our tactiles, and we're not going to go. We don't have time to go over them, but there's basically 3 different tactiles. The first one just describes generally the eclipse. Yes, thank you. New moon phase, the umbra, external tangent lines, simple shadows. Tactile number 2 describes going into partial, totality, showing the corona, which is tactily noticeable and coming out of totality. And tactile 3 shows a tactile map of the United States of America with the path of totality through it. This is also available in Spanish. There's a Spanish version on there. So it's Spanish, English, and we're going to adapt this for the 2019 and 2020 total solar eclipses, which passed through Chile and Argentina back-to-back 2019 2019 and 2020, and also then we'll readjust it, just page 3, just Tactile 3 for the 2024 Eclipse also. So it'll be a multiple use product, and all we have to change is the some of the narrative and Tactile 3. So we have one of these for everybody, and we want you to take those back. Oh, go ahead.
The Spanish version of it is actually included in the QR code itself. There's a link to click on to go into the Spanish for that.
Very good. So make sure you take those back, get them used. I also have, I brought with me I have some extras of our Mars books. If you did not get this came out about 3 years ago about curiosity and landing in Gale Crater. So if you don't have one of those, I have about 10 copies of that. You can take those. I also have some Tactile Moon business cards. If you've never gotten a Tactile Moon business card, I have the biggest business card in the business here. But anyway, so you can grab one of those. I just have a few of those. But everybody gets one of these. So we're going to pass these out right now. Any questions? Here, Ken, I'll let you hold that.
There's a question.
How long does it take to create one of these? Let's say template that make a whole bunch. How long does it take?
It takes roughly about a year to year and a half from start to finish, because we make a master and we make changes to the master as much as we need to till it's defined enough to feel as it looks to the visual eye, because that's our goal.
And maybe that answers your question, or maybe you're asking how long does it take to make an individual Tactile or the project? Oh, the whole project, yeah, probably a year and a half. So here's some more, pass them back. Each one of these is hand done, so it's kind of a time, I mean, obviously a printer prints the front cover and the back cover, but then the inside Braille is a process that's quite time consuming.
And it's only because we're so diligent on the final product. We want it to feel how it looks. So we could probably get something done that wasn't as detail oriented and didn't feel as it looked, probably within 6 months, but it wouldn't be to the quality that we expect and that we like to put out. Mm-hmm.
If you need if you need a couple copies, take a couple copies. And any other questions?
There's a couple in the back.
And that is the end of our session. I believe we can continue passing things out. Thank you all very much for your attendance today.